when you've tasted that before and you know what it feels like and you know what it looks like and all that kind of stuff, it's much different from it being your first time getting hit with that kind of power, your first time seeing that kind of speed and that kind of the overall makeup of a Tank Davis is surprising to most fighters. It won't be surprising to Lamont Roach. And Lamont is a DMV fighter himself, which means he got that dog, you know? It's gonna be
up until the body shot. So I feel like with Lamont, it was still like, like taking one of them other fights where it's like, this is a good fight. You know, they both grew up in DC. He been in the ring with Tank. He got that like attitude where it's like, you can't go back to the block. You let boy do something, you were like, so like, I knew that it could be a good fight, but I'm still like, Tank would beat him. When I got in the arena, it wasn't a surprise because it's like I said, I know what Lamont would come with. It just was, he just showed what I thought could possibly happen. But if Tank would have beat him easier, it would have been a surprise.
Right. So who did you think won the fight?
A draw. I say it over and over. I don't think Lamont did enough to for them to raise his hand, to take reputation, everything.
The rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach has sparked intense buzz and division across the boxing world.
To raise his hand, to take reputation, everything that Tank built.
Yeah, taking a knee, you thought that should have been called a knock?
Yes, it should have been called a knock, no, for sure. I've never seen that in boxing, but you do gotta realize though, like in boxing, if a guy if something wrong with you, something getting your cup, something is like fucking up with you, how do you take a pause in the action?
In amateurs, you could do that.
Tank probably thought hold up, you need to take a step back, hold up, so, but, you know.
It is what it is.
And if it was somebody else, they would count it though, I believe.
Some believe Lamont Roach poses a difficult stylistic matchup for Gervonta Davis, while others are confident that Tank will return as a much sharper version of himself in a rematch. Former world champion Anthony Dirrell recently shared his thoughts with YSM Sports Media, stating that he expects Davis to perform better this time around. However, Dirrell also acknowledged Roach's solid form, but ultimately backed Davis to get the job done.
Tank versus Roach. You saw the first fight. How did you score that first fight? Well, it was a close fight. Since the knockdown is no draw, I mean, it was a draw. You got to give it the draw, but I think Tank can come in a little different. But I think Roach will still be there to counter him and do everything, but I think Tank will pull off the victory. Do you think Tank has more to prove because of what...
It was a close fight. It ended in a draw, and that's fair, Anthony Dirrell said. I think Tank will come in with a different approach, but Roach will still be there, countering and doing his thing. Still, I believe Tank will pull off the victory. When asked if Gervonta Davis has more to prove because of the controversy surrounding the first fight, Dirrell responded, "No, I don't think so. What does he have to prove? He didn't lose."
I think Roach will still be there to counter him and do everything, but I think Tank will pull off the victory. Do you think Tank has more to prove because of what everybody was saying about him, that he did take a knee, that he should have been countered as a knockdown, he should have lost that fight? Do you think Tank has more to prove? No, I don't think he's got what to prove. What he proven? He ain't lose. Good. Yeah, anything else you got to say to the fans? Nah.
Gervonta Tank Davis is widely regarded as one of boxing's most electrifying talents, boasting a professional record of 30-0-1 with an impressive 28 wins by knockout. His upcoming opponent, Lamont Roach, stands at 25-2 with 10 knockouts to his name. Few understand what it's like to face Davis in the ring better than Frank Martin, who fought Tank in June of last year. Both fighters were undefeated at the time, but Davis emerged victorious with a knockout in the 8th round. That bout marked Davis's final fight before facing Roach, and many fans and analysts agree that he looked significantly different between the two performances. In fact, some argue that Davis's display against Martin was the best of his entire career, showcasing a level of skill, precision, and power that left a lasting impression across the boxing world.
With the same people, it kind of was more of the fight was more of like I feel like so Roach came out and fought his best fight that he could possibly fight, right? Against Tank. He came out with his A game, boom. And I feel like Tank came in that fight, not underestimating Roach, but more like we got history. I know what he like, both of them basically, but Roach gonna automatically have more of a little spark because he tried to get that spot. And Tank probably just like, I know you, I'm gonna do what I want to do to you, or I'm gonna do what I've done.
Frank Martin spoke with Fight Hype on June 9th, offering his perspective on both the first fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, as well as the upcoming rematch. I think the first Tank versus Roach fight was competitive, Martin said. Roach came out and fought the best fight he possibly could against Tank. He brought his A game. Martin explained that while Tank didn't underestimate Roach, there was a familiarity between the two that may have affected Davis's approach. They've got history. Tank knows what Roach likes to do, Martin noted. I feel like Tank fought that fight without really trying to get off, more relaxed and chill rather than going all out to finish him. When asked about the rematch, Martin predicted a more intense performance from Davis. I think the rematch is still going to be a good fight, he said, but I think Tank may get him up out of there this time, even with the knockdown and all that from the first fight. I feel like Tank is going to turn up for this next one.
It was cool, but with him taking the knee, like I say, Tank. You know, like they gonna give it to their man. They gonna give it to the guy with who bringing in all the money. But it was a close fight overall. But the rematch, I feel like Tank gonna do. He gonna turn up on this next one.
You think he was locked in more with you than Roach, or you think it was kind of?
For sure. Hell yeah. I thought he was a lot more locked in with me than Roach. Roach a good fighter. Roach a good.
The boxing world is buzzing as fans wait to see if Frank Martin's prediction will come true. On March 1st in New York, WBA super featherweight champion Lamont Roach Jr. nearly shocked the sport by pushing WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Tank Davis to the edge in a dramatic showdown. Now, with the rematch officially on, a new training clip of Roach has surfaced on social media, sparking debate. Is Roach truly ready to dethrone Tank this time, or will Davis remain king? Earlier this year, Roach defied expectations, going toe-to-toe with Davis in a fight that ended in a controversial majority decision draw. Many argue that if the ninth round the incident, what appeared to be a knockdown, had been properly called, Roach may have claimed the victory. The anticipation for the rematch continues to build, and the big question remains. Can Lamont Roach Jr. finish what he started? Originally scheduled for June 21st, the highly awaited Davis vs. Roach Jr. rematch has now been officially postponed to August 16, 2025, in Las Vegas. While the exact venue hasn't been confirmed, industry sources suggest it will likely be held at either the T-Mobile Arena or the MGM Grand Garden Arena. As excitement mounts, Fight Hub TV recently shared a training clip of Roach Jr. on Instagram, captioned, Lamont Roach Jr. is showing off his boxing skills on the heavy bag ahead of his rematch fight versus Gervonta Davis. The footage features Roach working the heavy bag with precision, delivering crisp combinations and demonstrating slick movement. His form looks sharper than ever, leaving fans eager to see if this improved version of Roach can finally topple Tank. Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. share a competitive history dating back to their amateur days, where Davis won both encounters. However, their first professional clash told a different story. Roach, nicknamed the Reaper, pushed Davis harder than any opponent had before, raising questions. Was Tank simply having an off night, or has Roach evolved into a world-class contender? One moment from that bout remains especially controversial. During the fight, Davis dropped to one knee and retreated to his corner to have his face wiped, an action clearly outside boxing rules. Surprisingly, no penalty was issued, a decision that continues to spark outrage among fans and analysts. That incident has only fueled debate over the fight's outcome, and intensified anticipation for the rematch.
What do you have to do to create enough separation when this don't happen?
It's a good question. It's going to be based on my training camp.
I could push myself a little harder if that didn't give me the win. And I have room. I definitely have room. I'm not gonna lie.
You believe you fought the best Gervonta, or do you think you got some more games?
100% for fact. I think he might have some more but I fought the best Gervonta.
Despite the controversy surrounding their first fight and Lamont Roach Jr.'s impressive showing, public opinion still largely favors Gervonta Davis in the upcoming rematch. Many believe Davis will return with a statement performance and dominate this time around. Given how close their first bout was, some expected fans to be cautious, but the online reaction says otherwise. One user, unimpressed by Roach's training footage, commented, "That's cool, Tank in 9. Still, others pointed out that Davis's power shots didn't faze Roach in their first meeting, questioning what would change now. One commenter admitted Roach had won him over as a fan, yet still predicted Davis would ultimately get the
I
win.
want people to get it misconstrued or whatever, because he's a hell of a fighter, hell of a IQ, great punching power, good speed, and a really good boxing. A lot of people underrate him. Don't think because of what I did, y'all think y'all can just go in there and think y'all can have the same night. Do the same thing. He still will go upside your head and crack you, and you know what I'm saying? Might end up. Everybody not do this.
I'm a Roach fan now, but I'm still a Tank fan. Tank's knocking him out in the next fight," one user wrote. Given Davis a staggering 93.3% knockout ratio, that prediction isn't far-fetched. Another user shared a similar sentiment, stating, "Tank by KO, round 6. He's not showing any love," suggesting Davis will enter the rematch with more focus and aggression. Despite the in-ring rivalry, Davis and Roach have known each other for years and share a long-standing friendship. Still, opinions on Roach's performance vary. One commenter said, "I love Roach, but his punches are kind of funny looking." They added, "If you think about it, they don't have to look good. They just have to get the job done." Meanwhile, another user took a darker tone, predicting dire consequences for Roach Jr. in the rematch.
That's what people get messed up. He did a whole lot of things that was good in that fight. A whole lot. And, I'm telling you right now, if he wasn't as good of a fighter as he was, that would have been. I'm saying, I would have steamrolled. Don't get that misconstrued. He's still the guy he is. It's just ran into the guy that's.
Tank will beat him this time. It's going to be bad, one user claimed. Only time will tell if that prediction becomes reality. Still, Lamont Roach Jr.'s attempt to showcase his training update may have backfired, drawing more doubt than support. Another user echoed the sentiment, predicting, "Tank by KO in 6. He's not showing any love." Despite their rivalry inside the ring, Davis and Roach share a long-standing friendship that dates back years. However, not everyone was impressed with Roach's technique. One fan commented, "I love Roach, but his punches look kind of funny." They added, "Then again, they don't have to look good. They just have to get the job done."
So obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, you know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
You jabbed him.
before I jabbed him. Even with that right hand, that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed. He kind of rolled.
"I love Roach, but his punches are kind of funny looking," one user commented. "If you think about it, they don't have to look good. They just have to get the job done." Still, Roach Jr.'s attempt to update fans with his training footage may have backfired, drawing more criticism than support. Trainer Greg Hackett weighed in, calling the upcoming Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach Jr. rematch a good fight. However, he noted that Roach isn't a household name among casual boxing fans, especially those who haven't followed the sport closely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just in height and stature. He was, technically bigger than Tank. But Tank is comfortable at 135.
Trainer Greg Hackett believes Lamont Roach Jr. is a talented fighter, but he lacks the flair and star power of high-profile names like Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Speaking to YSM Sports Media, Hackett said, to the people who know Lamont and know boxing, it's a good fight, but what's missing is that flair. He explained that Roach has a calm, gentlemanlike demeanor that doesn't resonate as strongly with casual fans. Lamont's laid back. Even if he tried to intimidate you, you wouldn't be fully intimidated. He's got green eyes, he's light-skinned, and doesn't look like a mean dude, Hackett joked. Tank, on the other hand, has tattoos. His eyes are a little off. He looks like something's wrong with him. He's got the braids and brings all the extra stuff, the outfits, the energy, the attitude. Hackett emphasized that Davis's aggressive persona and showmanship give him a unique presence, adding a layer of excitement to any fight he's involved in.
It's boxing. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. It's boxing.
Lamont is just a cool dude, but he can fight and he's a champion. We should respect him as such, trainer Greg Hackett said, addressing the public's craving for hype-driven matchups. The problem is, people are always looking for flashy fights, big names, when in reality, this is a genuinely good fight. Hackett emphasized that both Lamont Roach Jr. and Gervonta Tank Davis know each other well. This is a local fight. It's huge for their part of town. For the DMV area, it's massive. He said he pointed out that both fighters have faced Hector Garcia, adding weight to Roach's credibility. Tank fought Hector Garcia just a year and a half ago, and that's the same level of boxing. So how can anyone say Tank is cherry-picking? Roach holds a title, they have history, and they know each other. Hackett reiterated that the only thing missing from this matchup is a flair of someone like Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney. Those guys have the spotlight because the attention's been on them for years, he explained.
It's what it is. I mean, you just don't ever know what can happen in this sport. I mean, we take losses every day, even though I may have had my hand raised every time I went out there before, but when I lost my garage, Roger, that was a defeat.
As surprising as it may seem, Gervonta Tank Davis was reportedly considering a fight with heavyweight YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul just before his March 1st clash with Lamont Roach Jr. Sources say Davis was eyeing a massive payday, planning to make that his final bout before retiring from boxing with an undefeated 30-0 record by the end of the year.
Yeah, no, we're working on it behind the scenes to make that happen, and obviously that's a fight where the fans are going to win, and it's going to be the biggest event of the year. We're working on it, but it'd be an exhibition most likely.
Things didn't go quite as Gervonta Tank Davis had expected in his last bout. The former WBA lightweight champion faced a tougher challenge than usual in Lamont the Reaper Roach Jr., who stood his ground and battled through all 12 rounds. The result? A majority decision draw. Naturally, Roach wanted a rematch, and with a rematch clause included in their contract, Davis didn't have much to say in the matter. Now, the two are set to face off again on August 16th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Interestingly, while all this was unfolding, Davis had reportedly been in talks for a potential fight with Jake, the problem child Paul. That bout was expected to be a major payday for Davis, possibly his final match before retirement. However, with the Roach rematch now locked in, Paul has moved on and is preparing for his own 10-round showdown against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on June 28th. Still, if the Paul versus Davis fight ever happens, the terms will be fascinating to see.
They were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
While appearing virtually on Ariel Helwani's show, Jake El Gallo, Paul claimed he would have beaten Canelo Alvarez if Canelo hadn't allegedly ducked him. Continuing the conversation, Helwani asked whether a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis was still on the table after Paul's upcoming bout with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Paul responded confidently, yeah, that was on the pipeline as well, but he has to rematch Lamont Roach. Then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. When asked what weight the fight would take place at, Paul quickly answered, 195 pounds.
Canelo, obviously, didn't materialize. Was the next one Tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch, Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back. And then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. But, man, this is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
As you're watching, like, he was a gigantic favorite, and this is...
One fan reacted to the post, writing, Tank Davis moving from 135 to 195 is just pure insanity. And that seems to sum up what most of Tank's fans are thinking right now. As a lightweight, Davis has never fought above the light welterweight division, which tops out at 140 pounds, making for a massive 60-pound difference between him and Jake Paul. Taking aim at the influencer-turned-boxer, another fan commented, "Return of the cap. This clown is ridiculous, begging for a payday from the face of boxing." With that, the user called out Paul for repeatedly bluffing about fight negotiations with top-tier names like Canelo Alvarez and Gervonta Davis.
Heels of the Canelo thing, are you like, what the fuck is going on here?
I don't know, though, because I never really thought Tank was that good. It would just take the right fighter to pick him apart, to be honest. Someone who had high activity and wasn't afraid of his power. So I always saw so many holes in his game. So to me, it wasn't that surprising that someone finally gave him some good work.
If you do fight, what weight?
From a critic's standpoint, Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing, while Jake Paul is simply trying to cash in on that fame. The ridicule continued, with one commenter writing, "Fool would do everything else but fight a ranked boxer." To date, Paul's only remotely competitive opponents have been an out-of-prime Mike Tyson and Tommy Fury. While Paul secured a frustrating unanimous decision win over Tyson in November, he lost to Fury back in February of the previous year. As a result, Paul remains largely unpopular among boxing purists who view his career as more spectacle than substance.
Yeah.
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. But, and so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that, like, we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Okay. Is that...
Adding to the wave of criticism, another user wrote, "Get this clown out of boxing. All he's doing is making a mockery of the sport." Weighing in on the potential matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, one fan dismissed the idea entirely. And with that, we wrap things up. For the latest updates, breaking news, and all the key moments in the world of boxing, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on fresh content. Until next time, thanks for watching and peace out.